Chapter 21. Come on, kill me. Open the door, I'm going to start showing off. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A fist slammed into Malloy's face, the force of the blow driving him back against the barrier wall, *thump, star. Gah! Malloy groaned, spitting out 3 bloody molars. He was already running on fumes. The long trek, the instantaneous body technique, the fire sealing seal, and the sealing circle, all used twice in rapid succession, had drained him. Uchiha Ci's combo ninjutsu had left him riddled with cuts. Then he'd unleashed the large-scale sealing technique, Inu Duan Shu Fan Lu Nu, leaving him with barely any chakra. Now, depleted and struggling to replenish his energy, he gasped, trying to relieve his exhaustion, but then, unbelievably, Uchiha Ci, who should have been pulverized by hundreds of thousands of angry slaves, somehow got back on his feet and was coming at him. He stared at Uchiha Ci, face twisted in rage, eyes bloodshot, crawling towards him like a demon. A wave of dizziness washed over him. It felt like the devil himself had a grip on his heart, and he trembled uncontrollably. Uchiha Ci glared at Kumogakure with a ferocious grin, his single magatama spinning wildly in his eye. He hauled himself up and kicked Malloy in the face. Malloy's head slammed against the barrier wall. He raised his hands, covering his face, and let out a pathetic howl. Ci pivoted and landed another kick, this time to the left side of Malloy's face. The cloud-hidden village special Jonin, his own leader, went flying, kicking up dust as he crashed into the shattered wall of the ruins. At that moment, Uchiha Ci saw everything with perfect clarity. He could see every detail, even the individual motes of dust falling through the air. From somewhere deep inside, a new power surged through his exhausted body. But it did nothing to soothe the anger and fear clawing at his insides, anger at being denied his demise, and fear of the uncertain future. Uchiha clenched his fist, tore a detonating tag from his pouch. He pulled the last kunai from his pant leg and wrapped the tag around its tip. His lips trembled as he approached Malloy with a sinister smile, saying nothing. His Sharingan burned bright. His face was a grotesque mask of fury and madness, smeared with blood, tears, and squid ink. Black and scarlet droplets fell from his chin. If you looked closely, you could see him shaking. His teeth chattered, his face twitched, and his pupils darted around wildly. It was the face of a demon consumed by rage and fear. Malloy, buried in the rubble, spat out a mouthful of blood and shook his head, trying to clear his vision. His head swam, and his ears rang. After a long, deafening whine, he vaguely heard someone calling his name from outside the barrier. Malloy! Malloy! It was Rami and Todai. Malloy looked up, dazed. Lamy was frantic. Snap out of it! She yelled. Malloy, can't you see? He's using taijutsu. His chakra is sealed off by the Yinuduan Shukanryu slave. The realization hit Malloy like a brick. Just then, a kunai flashed before his eyes. Reacting instinctively, Malloy channeled his chakra, rose, and grabbed Uchiha Ci's wrist, but the unhinged Uchiha Ci just laughed, twisting his arm until the bone snapped with a sickening click. With his other hand, he ripped the detonating tag from the kunai and slammed it against Malloy's face. The tag ignited. Boom! The explosion sent both of them flying in opposite directions, bodies tumbling through the smoke. Malloy gasped, his face contorted in terror. He's insane. He's completely lost it. He's trying to take me with him. He doesn't care about living anymore. If Malloy hadn't managed to swat the detonating tag away at the last second, they both would have been blown to bits. Uchiha Ci staggered to his feet, his scarlet eyes burning with unbridled rage. You think I'm crazy? Uchiha sneered, looked down at Malloy with his scarlet Sharingan, his eyes filled with contempt. Who do you think you are? Did you even go to high school? Do you have any idea what a truly peaceful world looks like? Have you ever known the simple joy of kicking back with a Coke in your apartment, hands flying across a keyboard, chasing your dreams? I had all that, and then I got thrown into this fucking world for the most ridiculous reason. Uchiha cursed, spitting venom. You don't understand anything. You, Kumogakure, Konoha, you're all a bunch of uncivilized barbarians. You're going to lecture me with that pea-sized brain of yours. You're not even worth zombie food. Uchiha Ci threw his head back and cackled maniacally. Ha 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 ha. I'm done. Enough is enough is enough is enough. This stupid world has no Wi-Fi, no video games, no movies, no porn, no one I care about, nothing I want, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Uchiha suddenly stopped, the Sharingan in his eyes spinning furiously, radiating hatred, coldness, defiance, and contempt, and also, a burning, all-consuming rage. This world is meaningless. It's pointless. As if he could see through everything, Uchiha stared at Malloy, but his gaze went beyond him, as if he were looking at the entire world. He flicked his hand dismissively. Come on, kill me. Malloy's eyes narrowed, and he took a deep breath. He had no idea what Wi-Fi, porn, or video games were, but he understood one thing: Uchiha Ci, this useless genin, this kid who'd barely awakened his Sharingan and was, at best, slightly better than cannon fodder in the Third Ninja World War, that was mocking him. You want to die? Malloy's voice was like ice. He drew his long sword, his eyes narrowed, shifted the blade against his arm, and prepared to strike. Now that he knew Uchiha Ci couldn't use chakra, it was a done deal. He might not have chakra for ninjutsu, but he was a special jonin, a master of taijutsu. He could crush this Uchiha kid without breaking a sweat. Without a word, Uchiha lunged forward, hiding his hands behind his back, as if he were reaching for a weapon in his ninja pouch. Malloy sneered, shifted his weight, and swung his sword. It was the Yunlu sword technique of Yunin village, deceiving people, a simple horizontal slash, designed to look like a killing blow, forced the opponent to dodge. If they dodged to the left, he'd follow up seamlessly with Yunlu and re-slash, further fooling the opponent before spinning to deliver a fatal strike to their back, and if they dodged to the right, they'd be met with the finishing move, Yunlu, 3 days and moon slash. But then, Malloy's sneer vanished. Uchiha didn't dodge. He didn't move at all. He let the blade carve a bloody gash from his left shoulder to his right. Then, he grabbed the sword's blade, blood gushing from his fingers. His eyes were cold, insane, and ferocious. This is a jonin. This is your swordsmanship. Not enough. This is not enough. Come on, kill me. Kill me with everything you've got. Malloy's face was a mask of shock. He felt a primal fear rising within him. He cursed silently. At that moment, a furious voice erupted from outside the barrier. Enough. Malloy, drop the barrier. I'll kill him. Tai's face was contorted with rage, his hands already weaving seals, a glimmer of madness in his eyes. Malloy wasn't getting it done. With Uchiha Ci's pressure continuing to mount, he felt himself losing control. He wanted to unleash a large-scale ninjutsu and bury this kid and Uchiha Setsuna alongside Malloy in one fell swoop. Earth style, open earth and dig. Lava style, Humo River. 2A rank ninjutsu were ready to go. Chapter 22. In a cruel choice, Uchiha chose love. Revised. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seals were forming rapidly on the earth outside the barrier. Uchiha's face shifted as he watched. He immediately recognized the jutsu Tutai was performing: earth release, earth opening excavation. It was a large-scale earth jutsu that could force a volcano up from the ground, dragging any underground targets with it. But here, in the land of hot springs, a superheated volcanic area full of hot springs and mountains, this jutsu would be amplified dramatically. Instead of simply excavating and extracting earth, it would unleash something far worse than any enemy. It would release scalding, boiling water from below the surface, hot enough to cause third-degree burns with the slightest exposure. Water temperatures underground easily exceeded 212 degrees Fahrenheit. With this terrain boosting the jutsu's power, the Cloud Ninja team was confident they could eliminate Setsuna Uchiha. It was also why they chose to lie in wait in the land of hot springs instead of intercepting Setsuna Uchiha at the Fire Country border. Tutai couldn't wait any longer. This was all because of that crazy Uchiha kid inside the barrier. If not for him stubbornly turning the tide and holding back Malloy, especially now that he had awakened his Sharingan, threatening to snatch victory from them, Tutai would never have resorted to this. The thought gnawed at Tutai. He looked at Malloy, a conflict playing out on his face, because he knew the consequence of his plan. Sacrificing his brother Malloy. Cloud Village had always valued brotherhood. Guilt, regret, and shame hammered at his heart. and the struggle was plain to see, but that old coot, Uchiha Setsuna, that had triggered the full fury of the ninja world's biggest clan with his taunts. Tutai felt a crushing fear, a knot tightening in his chest. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. The thought took root and spread like a virus, replicating endlessly in Tutai's mind, until it was the only thing left. Then, Tutai's eyes snapped open, and he roared. Enough. Moloi, release the barrier. I'll finish him. Inside the barrier. What did you say, Tutai-san? Moloi was stunned. Seizing the opportunity, Uchiha gripped his ninja sword, wiping the blood from the blade with his palm. He kicked Moloi hard in the gut. Thump, Moloi went flying, losing his grip on the sword, which Ci then caught. He tumbled across the ruins before managing to plant his hands and stop himself. Ignoring Uchiha for the moment, he stared blankly at the earth platform outside the barrier. Tutai stood there, taking a deep breath, rapidly forming hand seals. He barked. I said, release the barrier. Release the barrier? Moloi's eyes widened in disbelief as he stared at Tutai. You want me to release it now? His face flushed, then paled, his expression shifting rapidly. As part of the team, Moloi was involved in planning the operation. He knew the power of Tutai's earth-opening excavation jutsu and its terrifying scope, but now, Tutai was ordering him to release the barrier, claiming he would personally kill Uchiha Ci. Did he not realize that activating the jutsu would engulf him and his teammates? A chill ran down Moloi's spine. He looked at Tutai, who he once considered a brother, with a strange sense of unease. Finally, he burst out. Are you out of your mind? You want me to open the barrier during earth-opening excavation? Are you trying to kill me, Tutai? Guilt flickered across Tutai's face. He didn't respond, couldn't bring himself to meet Moloi's gaze. Instead, he turned to Lamii beside him, his teeth clenched. Lamii, protect me. Don't let that old man, Uchiha Setsuna, get close. Lamii was shocked. Tutai, what? Tutai simply shook his head, his face grim. Do I need to spell it out? Can you imagine what happens if we let that old man escape? Lamii hesitated, then said through gritted teeth, then why ask Moloi to open the barrier too? Tutai took a deep breath, formed the final hand seal, and said with an indifferent expression. Don't be ridiculous. If I don't kill that brat now, that old guy will break free on his own. Things have changed. Moloi did his part, sealing all the explosive tags on that kid. That brat is no longer a threat. On the contrary, he'll be an asset. Lamii couldn't help but glance sideways at the rakish right-hand man. A flicker of fear crossed his eyes. Was it any wonder someone could rise so high in Cloud Village at such a young age? He'd worked his whole life, and he was just a jonin captain. Shaking his head, Lamii sighed and said in a flat tone. You're right. Sometimes, a bond is stronger than a barrier. Tutai didn't reply. He narrowed his eyes. He watched Uchiha wielding a red-flamed sword, a fiery trail behind him, a red line drawn by the scarlet Sharingan, turn and slash. A sneer crossed his face. He slammed his palm on the ground. The next moment, the earth trembled. The earth dragon stirred, and countless clods of earth rose from the ground. A massive volcano was being forced up from the depths, its crater quickly swallowing the entire barrier that enclosed Moloi. Thick fog swirled around the rim. Uchiha's eyes widened in fury as he watched the scene unfold. What do you think you're doing? Cloud Village. Uchiha Setsuna, let's make a bet, Dodai said, his hand still moving, a cruel smile twisting his lips. He was about to unleash Rongduan Humo River. He would transform the soil into a river of molten rubber, then use the Humo River to seal the crater. The boiling water forced up from underground would create intense pressure inside, causing the volcano to expand violently, the deadly environment inside the volcano, and the scalding water that would erupt at the end, that would unleash a force of nature that no human could withstand. You have two choices, Tudai said, looking at Uchiha Setsuna coldly. You can stay here and fight us to the bitter end. I can watch the boy who almost defeated Moloi die by my hand. I have to admit, you won. You sacrificed one genin brat and ruined our entire plan. Leave now, and I won't stop you. Of course, you have another option. Chutai gestured towards the massive crater with its billowing white mist, he sneered. Jump in. With your skills, you might be able to save that kid. Maybe. Uchiha's expression changed instantly. My technique is about to seal the hole, make a decision. Chutai roared. Uchiha glared at him for a moment, then gritted his teeth and walked to the edge of the crater. Without hesitation, he turned and jumped into the volcano. Chutai sneered. This is the end of it all, he formed the final seal and unleashed a raging river of rubber. The liquid rubber, molten and hot, sealed the crater like a lid. It was done. Please read, collect, and recommend. Bang bang bang. Chapter 23. How wonderful, he actually wants to kill me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gurgle. Scalding water bubbled and hissed, sending up plumes of steam and spreading the sharp smell of sulfur everywhere. In the inky darkness, a single barrier floated on the boiling lake, radiating a faint white glow. Crumble, crumble. Gravel and dust trickled down the volcanic rock walls. The whole place felt like a pressure cooker about to explode. The superheated air made it hard to breathe. The temperature soared to 120 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Even Uchiha Ci, a trained ninja, felt lightheaded in this environment. A lurking danger hung in the air, like a viper ready to strike. Uchiha Ci's vision blurred. Through the barrier's glow, he imagined a dark omen flashing across the night sky. He could almost see his own doom beckoning from above, but just then, a thought snapped Uchiha Ci back to reality, clear-headed, totally focused. He began to understand. This was the volcano created by Kumogakure Ninja Dodai's earth-style jutsu, with a boiling spring right beneath him. Wasn't this the perfect place to bury someone? Talk about a silver lining. At first, Uchiha thought he was screwed when his explosive tags failed to detonate, almost costing him a shot at taking out the Kumogakure Jonin, and then the great elder Uchiha showed up, threatening to self-destruct, scaring both Yunin ninjas into a hasty retreat. But who would have guessed? Chutai's boss had a change of heart and gave him the ultimate gift. Earth style, volcano creation, melt style, magma protection, erupting volcanoes and boiling springs. Superheated pressure and a rock slide, topped off with a full-body boiling water immersion. What's more certain death than that? The perfect ninja combo. Uchiha Ci almost cried with joy. This was the mother of all volcanoes, courtesy of Chutai's boss. Damn, talk about a lucky break. As Uchiha Ci teared up, the Kumogakure ninja Malloy was already burning with anger. It was the ninja version of a hate-fueled bromance. Malloy glared at Uchiha Ci, who looked like he was crying from fright, with pure, unadulterated hatred. His eyes were bloodshot, his face contorted, and veins bulged on his forehead, all because of this kid, this punk. Chutai had sold him out, burying him alive in a volcano, barrier and all. Malloy had never felt so betrayed. Suppressed rage threatened to burst from his chest. He glared at Uchiha Ci and roared, his voice distorted with fury. Uchiha Ci. This is all your fault. All your fault. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be in this mess. Malloy clenched his fists, his eyes wide with anger, and screamed. I'm going to kill you. I swear, I'll kill you. However, Uchiha's reaction was pure elation. He looked at the enraged Malloy and nearly applauded. This guy actually wants to kill me. It's like realizing you forgot your parachute mid-skydive. This just keeps getting better. Facing Malloy's murderous glare, Uchiha suppressed his excitement and nodded calmly. Good, that's the spirit. He widened his eyes and deliberately raised his eyebrows, striking a cold, arrogant, and defiant pose to crank up Malloy's anger to the max. Then, Uchiha Ci sneered and said lightly. Your struggle is meaningless before these eyes. The words were barely out of his mouth when, Sharingan, activate. Malloy's twisted expression was reflected in the scarlet pupils, and the single tomo swirled slowly, like the world's most exquisite work of art. A kingly aura exuded from him. Anyone who saw him would instantly want to punch him in the face. Malloy couldn't resist this level of posturing. His nostrils flared, and the veins on his forehead throbbed. A moment later, Malloy charged across the scalding surface of the boiling lake, stirring up white mist as he lunged with a crazed look in his eyes, but Uchiha Ci simply dodged Malloy's hasty punch, and struck with a backhand strike, aimed at the back of his heart. Flowing cloud, razor flash. Learn it, and use it right away. Uchiha Ci kicked Malloy in the face, sending him flying backward. Then, he spoke casually. Give it up. I've seen right through you. Aawea. Malloy was consumed with rage. Ignoring his exhausted body, he waved hand signs and slammed his hands on the boiling lake. Dharma seal, lightning kill bind. Uchiha Ci was caught off guard. He hadn't expected the other guy to be able to use ninjutsu and tried to scramble out of the way. However, water conducts electricity. The environment amplified Malloy's spell speed. A blinding flash of lightning surged, forming a giant lightning symbol at Uchiha Ci's feet. For lightning chains shot through his body, locking Uchiha Ci in place, restricting his movements. Malloy grinned ferociously, then, splash. He collapsed into the boiling water. Glub, glub. Underwater, Malloy's mouth opened and closed in horror, his eyes wide, his limbs flailing weakly. The scalding water quickly cooked him. Plop. A giant bubble floated to the surface. Malloy, special jounin of Kumogakure village, future leader of the Kumogakure barrier squad, a powerful ninja capable of creating 36 regeneration barriers, was no more. With Malloy's death, the lightning kill bind gradually faded. Uchiha Ci was stunned. Hey, man, couldn't you have hung on for 2 more seconds? Just one stab. That's all I needed. Using ninjutsu when you're out of chakra and can't even tread water. Are all the Cloud Village's hotshots this impulsive? Uchiha panted, gasping for air. He was completely spent. He glanced at the barrier in front of him as it flickered then slowly dimmed, and darkness began to consume everything. Uchiha let out a sigh. He looked at his face, reflected in the hot spring, a face so handsome you'd want to pinch it to check its moisture. It was now pitch black, smeared with dirt, blood, wounds, squid ink, and sweat, like a miner who just crawled out of the pit. Uchiha chuckled, looking down at the water at the breaking point. He imagined the imminent landslide and the erupting spring. This is probably it for me. Uchiha Ci collapsed into the water, smiling, a look of relief on his face. He was exhausted, however. At that moment, a golden flame burst to life in the darkness. Like the first light of creation. A familiar shout rang in Uchiha's ears. Fire style, Great Fire Annihilation. Chapter 22 has been revised. As of this chapter, the first story arc of the book has come to an end. Next up, the brand new arc, Kingdom of Tang, Ritual of the Evil God. Yes, that's the arc from the intro. Welcome to follow along. Thanks to Bai Li and Brother Jia for saving my adoptive father's monthly votes again. I've received all your thoughts. Please collect, read, and recommend. Bang, bang, bang. Chapter 24 Intermission, Moment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 45 years ago, it was the night Madara Uchiha left the village. The young Setsuna Uchiha asked him, how does someone get godlike power? Madara just gave him a cold look. You wanna dance, too? Then, golden flames erupted, setting the sky ablaze. Molten rubber rained down with the fire. To Ci Uchiha, it looked like the sky was twinkling, like stars were falling, but he was too weak to move. All he could do was look up at the growing fireball and widen his eyes slightly. Suddenly, a black shadow dove down, grabbed Ci by the neck, and tossed him onto a nearby ledge. G. The fireball slammed into the boiling spring, sending sparks flying everywhere. Stunned, Ci looked up at the great elder. Setsuna Uchiha didn't say anything, just glanced around. At this point, the man-made volcano was sucking up boiling water from the ground at an alarming rate. The water level was rising, the air was thick with pressure, and a massive explosion was imminent. Setsuna looked up at the burning dome, narrowing his eyes. He quickly formed hand seals and unleashed a series of ninjutsu. Fire style, Dragon Flame Jutsu, Fire style, Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. Several fire techniques shot toward the dome, but only caused the inside of the volcano to shake violently. Setsuna frowned, stopping what he was doing. Ci looked at him in disbelief. Great Elder, what are you doing here? Before the barrier was thrown into the volcano, CI clearly saw Setsuna outside the range of Kumogakure Ninja Dodai's technique. Now that Kumogakure had lost its barrier ninja to restrain Setsuna, he should have been able to escape easily, Setsuna scoffed. Dumbass, I'm here to get you out, obviously. Ci was bewildered. Wait, Great Elder, you should be. Setsuna shook his head calmly. I should be retreating, you mean? I should be fulfilling my duty and heading to Hell Valley to prevent the Cloud Ninjas from causing trouble and hurting the clan. He frowned at Ci, who was covered in bloody stab wounds and burns, his arm hanging limp, barely attached. You look worse than someone who just came back from the battlefield in the Rain Country. Setsuna's eyes flickered. He took a deep breath. But... what about you? Me? Ci looked confused. Great Elder, don't joke around. Why would you save me over anyone else? Because you have something, Setsuna said, his eyes narrowing. Something I don't. Compared to me, a mediocre, useless man. You have determination, vision, and the potential to reach a place I never could. You deserve to live more. The smile froze on Ci's face. Setsuna Uchiha closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He smacked Ci on the head and ruffled his hair, which was a little frizzy from the electric shock. When he opened his eyes, his Sharingan blazed, his gaze was calm, determined. Ci, can't you see? Setsuna let go of him, stepped forward, and grabbed the hilt of his sword. From the Warring States period until now, I was destined to end up like this. Old age, leading to death. However, I've been stuck in this disgusting power struggle my whole life. I never experienced the bright spark that life is supposed to be. Setsuna's eyes flashed. Until you showed up. I know now, this is guidance from Madara Uchiha. I believe, this is my moment. Ci looked stunned. Seeing Setsuna acting like he was ready to die, he panicked. No, wait, Great Elder, what are you talking about? Are you misunderstanding me? I'm not as noble as you think. Before Ci could finish, Setsuna turned his head and smiled knowingly, then, his tone changed, becoming cold and indifferent. I know. You want to die. You lost your parents young, were bullied by the clan, lived in the dirt, and feel like the world is pointless. You've wanted to die for a long time. Ci narrowed his eyes. But you don't want to die looking like a fool. You want to wash away your shame and die with honor, as an Uchiha. So. I won't let you. Ci opened his mouth to explain, but then he realized his past was exactly as Setsuna described, but his motives were completely wrong. I'm the one who wants to die. Wait, you've got it all wrong, Great Elder, please let me explain. Humph. Setsuna scoffed, his face arrogant and fanatical. I know what I know. Now then. Setsuna glanced at the boiling spring about to erupt beneath them, slowly drew his sword, and shouted coldly, watch yourself, kid. I'm going to use the Uchiha clan's secret S-rank forbidden swordsmanship. Ci was stunned. Aside from fire style and shuriken, did the Uchiha even have anything like that? An S-rank secret swordsmanship? There weren't many of those in Konoha, right? While Ci was distracted, Setsuna suddenly spun around and whacked him over the head with the hilt of his sword. The blow landed like a sledgehammer, sending stars flying and knocking Ci to the ground. Damn it, you sneaky old bastard, Ci cursed, his vision blurring as he blacked out. He vaguely heard Setsuna snarl. That's it, just hate me. Hate me. Then live, you ugly bastard. Then, a jump. In a daze, Ci thought he saw a flame erupting from the volcano. He saw a figure wielding a sword of fire that reached the sky. With a single swing, the volcano collapsed and shattered, like a god. Then, a plop as something fell into the boiling water, then, darkness, but a notification sounded in his mind, *cling, starred, you bravely fought back against an enemy who mocked you, but the opponent is dead and unable to argue. Counterattack power increased and rewarded with a critical hit. You gained a random skill from the opponent, deathmatch barrier, proficiency, A, Skill has been critically hit. Current attribute is, Super Deathmatch Barrier, Mastery, S. Your heart steel level has increased. Setsuna Uchiha, a jonin of the Uchiha clan in Konoha Hidden Village in the Land of Fire, and a member of the Konoha police force. A cunning and deceitful man who inherited Madara's will, and is quite consistent with the policies of the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, in governing the Uchiha clan. Dissatisfied and always eager to regain sovereignty from the Senju clan, he is a hawkish Uchiha clan member. Book of Formations *. Chapter 25 Smart Flying, S-Level Forbidden Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Half a day later, in Tang country where Uchiha had been fighting, a young man with short black hair, dressed in a tight black combat uniform and a Konoha jounin vest, leaped down. It was Uchiha Fugaku. He was horrified by the sight before him. The village was gone, replaced by a shattered landscape dominated by a massive volcano. It looked as if a giant had been swinging a colossal sword. Scalding water bubbled up, forming a small, winding river. Great Elder, what did they encounter? Fugaku frowned, standing on the volcanic rock, sifting through the ash. He activated his Sharingan. This kind of devastation has two possible explanations. Either Elder Setsuna finally unlocked that forbidden power, or he used that forbidden technique. Fugaku's voice lowered as his Sharingan scanned the ruins. He noticed a relatively intact circular area, exposing the riverbed of boiling water. It was littered with shurikens, kunai, and charred detonating tags. Ravines crisscrossed the ground, marked with pits from hand-to-hand combat. Someone else fought here, using shuriken techniques of this level. Saikairo? No, he's not capable of this. It's Uchiha Ci. Uchiha Ci, he repeated. Given the state of this battlefield, the fight must have been intense. Is he really just a genin? Fugaku hesitated, wondering if even Shursui, the most talented member of the Uchiha clan, could have accomplished this at this age. Regardless of the method used, the Great Elder must have been driven by strong emotions to use this power. So, what was he trying to accomplish? He squinted, tracing the path of the devastation, and his gaze settled on a fractured section of the volcanic rock face, revealing a small platform. They might still be alive. At least, Uchiha Ci probably is. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath, remembering what Shursui had told him. Uchiha Ci will be the bridge between the clan and the village, Fugaku-senpai. And now, Setsuna Uchiha, the great elder and leader of the Hawks, had risked everything to create a path for this child. What was it about Uchiha Ci that made these two opposing factions, Hawks and Doves, do this for him? Find him. Uchiha Fugaku said, his voice firm. We have to find him. This may be the last message from Elder Setsuna, his final wish. Meanwhile, in an abandoned village near Yuyen Castle in the Land of Rain, Uchiha Ci opened his eyes. He stared at an unfamiliar, cracked ceiling. Yo, you're awake. A kid with slick-back gray hair, chewing on a pork chop, glanced at him from beside the bed. Where am I? Uchiha asked, confused. His last memory was being in the volcano, ambushed and knocked unconscious by that old man Setsuna. And this wasn't the first time. He gritted his teeth. He'd been trying to set up warning traps before the fight. Then the old man had smacked him on the head, knocking him out. Geez, is he trying to give me a square head? I dunno. Some underground water sprung up yesterday, made a hot spring river. Found you in it and fished you out. The kid swung around on the stool, propped his feet on the bed, and raised his eyebrows. TSK, you a ninja. Uchiha Ci's Sharingan flickered to life. He could see that this cocky kid didn't have much chakra, not even enough to be a genin. He frowned. You know I'm a ninja, and you still saved me. Aren't you afraid I'll stick you with a kunai? The brat replied coolly, you're covered in scrapes and bruises, but I didn't find any wounds on your back. A man who doesn't run is probably a good guy in the Land of Rain. Uchiha Ci's smile faltered. He was getting the good guy speech for the first time in his life, and it was coming from a snot-nosed punk. He had the urge to shove his fingers up the kid's nose and give him a hard shove. But the kid had saved him, even though he didn't really want to be saved. In the end, Uchiha, ever the good guy, sighed. 9 years of mandatory education prevented him from stabbing his benefactor in the back. The road to insurance fraud was tough. Hey, let me introduce myself. My name is Haydn. The kid grinned, pointing to himself with his thumb. You can call me, bro, Haydn. And you? Uchiha's answer was short, Genin, quit. Then he realized what he said and stared at the kid. Wait, what did you say? Your name is Haydn. What's with that look? Yeah, my name is Haydn. Haydn scoffed, still gesturing with his thumb. Future savior of Tang country, Tang Ying. That's me. I'm gonna end the chaos in the land of rain, kick out all the big shot ninjas, and become the next demigod of the ninja world. That's my master's ninja way. Hold up, Haydn, are you stupid? Uchiha blurted out, horrified. He looked at the kid and almost activated his Sharingan to check if this Haydn was real. After all, Haydn was a future member of the Akatsuki, a devout follower of the evil god cult, one half of the immortal duo, with the terrifying ability to kill someone with a single curse. He had defeated the two-tailed Jinchuriki and killed the guardian ninja Chiriku and Asuma. A serious resume and dangerous abilities. As far as personality went, he was arrogant, cocky, long-winded, and not the sharpest tool in the shed. That was Haydn. This Haydn in front of me, other than not being very bright, has all the other characteristics that match him, but, a smart Haydn. What kind of Haydn is this? Uchiha Ci instantly recalled the hypothetical Haydns he'd debated with a bunch of Naruto fans, a mosquito-summoning Haydn, an ant's handkerchief Haydn, a blood-drive Haydn, Haydn with a brain. The level of absurdity was truly off the charts, it was so outrageous. Up there with speedster Minato, healthy Itachi, and genius Jiraiya. Uchiha Ci blinked, his pupils trembling. Why you calling me stupid? Haydn frowned, his gaze changing. Oh. I get it. My name got to you so bad that you started spouting nonsense. I see. That's what they call, intimidation by presence. It's okay, I forgive you. Haydn chuckled, pulled out a scroll, and tossed it to Uchiha Ci. This was with you, but I can't open it. Probably yours. Take it. I'm gonna go get a doctor to check your brain out. Uchiha Ci took the scroll and immediately recognized the Uchiha clan emblem. He sensed a connection between himself and the scroll. He felt like he could open it. Carefully, Uchiha Ci unrolled the scroll. When he saw what was written on it, his pupils shrank, the bold characters jumped out. Uchiha style, forbidden S-rank swordsmanship secret, Halo dance. Chapter 26. The mood is uneasy, the curtain is rising. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Haydn slammed the door shut, and the room fell silent again. Uchiha stared at the scroll in his hand, his heart sinking. He was supposed to die in that volcano, yet here he was, alive. And now this, another scroll, this one detailing S-rank forbidden techniques. He definitely wasn't counting his blessings. He was alive, breathing fresh air, seeing sunlight filter through the cracks in the wall, feeling the warmth on his skin. Inch by inch, his hand still burned. The great elder Uchiha had chosen to immolate himself, paving the way for him. Damn it! 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 Ci clenched the sheets, his face devoid of any joy from surviving. Instead, he felt utter terror. His head hung low, scarlet eyes wide, his lips, teeth, even his face trembling. His Sharingan spun wildly. His heart pounded in his chest like a drum. On the scale of his heart, one boulder after another labeled Uchiha Setsuna crashed down. The weight was unbearable, stealing his breath. Ci understood himself well. He was just a regular guy, laughing when happy, crying when sad, getting down when he failed, and angry when humiliated. He had normal emotions. If someone really loved someone like Sasuke, would he be able to stab them in the back? Or would he be like Itachi, cutting off all ties with his family? That wasn't solving the problem, that was just a sick way to vent, so, he tried his best to avoid getting involved with the characters and events of the original story. But now, then, a piece of paper fell from the unfolded scroll into his hand. The words written on it stunned him. Just deliver the message. I'll figure something out. Also, I'm not dead. Uchiha blinked, scratched his head, and finally sighed in relief. Then, he twisted his face, rolled up the scroll, and muttered under his breath, "You old bastard, you should have said something sooner. You kept that quiet. Dude, what were you thinking? Back away, back away. Please back away." Uchiha raised his palm and waved it in the air, as if shooing away bad vibes. The great elder Uchiha Setsuna, the last veteran jounin from the Warring States period, would definitely know Izanagi, that technique that could rewrite anything bad that happened to him. Ci had been so worried and confused, he'd forgotten all about it. Just then, the door creaked open, and Haydn walked in with a doctor, catching Ci waving his hands around. It looked like he was practicing sword moves. Swish, 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 Haydn chuckled. Hey, didn't expect you were so full of energy. That's right, keep it up. Even though I've never been through it, I've read about it in books. Don't be shy, I get it. Ci's face was blank. You have never been through it? This guy yelled like a perverted uncle every day. He'd obviously never left that stage. But facing their stares, Ci looked away, a little embarrassed. He coughed. Just a fly. The tall doctor behind Haydn raised his eyes. Impossible. I put up repellent. Ci wanted to yell, but when his eyes caught the subtitles that flashed in front of him, he stopped. Oh, let me introduce you. This is Mr. Shinong, a doctor who travels the ninja world. Haydn stepped aside and pointed at the tall doctor. Thanks to him, you would have bled out. Ci looked up, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. The tall doctor, Mr. Shinong, wore a brown hood, revealing light gray hair, and a light yellow coat. That outfit, and his name, wasn't that the leader of Kongren village, Shinong? What was this big boss, who flew a frequent aircraft carrier around the ninja world, doing in the land of rain? And why was he with Haydn? Shinong's gaze was indifferent as he looked Ci up and down like a worthless piece of meat. After a moment, he said, I've treated your injuries. Drink plenty of hot water. That's all. He shook his head, as if he had no interest in Ci, and turned to leave. Ci watched him go without saying a word. They had no connection, no conflict, and going after him didn't fit his goal of dying for a good cause, just as Shinong had no interest in him as an Uchiha. Even if Ci knew that this was a powerhouse who could use the 8 gates without dying, and could easily turn him into a meat pie, he wasn't about to pick a fight. There's a difference between a suicide mission and insurance fraud. Especially if the other person wasn't showing any actual malice. That's why Ci wanted to make his stand on the battlefield. Once he stepped onto the battlefield, they would have opposing goals and naturally be divided into 2 camps, where life and death were normal. Mr. Shinong is a kind and generous doctor. He doesn't charge for medical treatment. Haydn watched Shinong leave with respect, then turned to Ci. He walked to the bedside, grabbed an apple, and tossed it to Ci. Ci didn't reply, but gave Haydn a thoughtful look and clicked his tongue, kind and generous. Not necessarily. Ci figured the only reason Shinong was with Haydn was for the evil god cult's secret techniques. After all, the opponent's forbidden technique, flesh transformation, allowed them to forcibly open all 8 gates without dying, which might have something to do with the evil god's sex-immortal body. Haydn straddled the chair. Ci, I saved your life. I didn't save you so you could lie here. Since Mr. Shinong said you're fine, come with me and do something for me. Ci tilted his head, surprised by Haydn's nerve. How can you say that so confidently? And why should I help you? You should be thanking me for not stabbing you. Now you want a wandering ninja to help you. Haydn didn't care. He grinned. I read about it in a book. It's called Repaying a Debt of Gratitude. You're a good person. You'll definitely help me. Ci rolled his eyes, speechless. Okay, scratch what he said about Haydn having a brain. Ci shook his head, raised the corners of his lips, and said calmly, let's hear it. And before you start, I'm not doing anything that isn't life-threatening. Haydn's eyes narrowed, his smile fading. He asked seriously, do you know about the evil god cult? Chapter 27 The Evil God Ceremony, A Better Future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When I heard Haydn say that name, Uchiha Ci's eyes flickered. He only knew a little about the evil god cult, a mysterious organization wandering in the land of rain. They worshipped a deity known as the evil god. The cult's most powerful members could use unique blood curses and ritual secrets to gain a terrifying instant kill ability. In the original timeline, the hidden rain village, fearing war, did nothing, earning it the nickname the village that forgot the war. This clashed with Haydn's belief in saving the land of rain through drastic measures. He grew dissatisfied with the village and became interested in the emerging evil god cult. Uchiha Ci hadn't expected Haydn, not even a genin yet, to already be paying attention to them. Haydn's face darkened. Listen up, Ci. The land of rain is a lost cause. This country is caught in the middle of the 5 great powers' wars. Do you know what that means? Haydn's expression grew gloomier as he spoke. I've seen too many ninjas in the land of rain. Ninja from the hidden stone, hidden mist, hidden cloud, hidden sand, and hidden leaf, they're all tearing this place apart. They don't give a damn about the lives of the rain country's civilians. When they meet, it's a fight to the death with large-scale ninjutsu flying everywhere. Have you ever been walking down the road, and the next thing you know, a village next to you is flooded, swallowed by earthquake ravines, or struck by lightning? Then, my sensei, a rain ninja jounin, grabbed me by the shoulders and said, Haydn, we need to get out of here. We'll be safe once we reach the rain village. I remember the fear in his eyes, sweat pouring down his face. He was angry, but he looked away, afraid to meet anyone's gaze. Uchiha Ci took a deep breath. Inside the room, Haydn sat in a chair. Sunlight streamed through the hole in the wall, but it seemed swallowed by his body, like a black hole. Haydn's face was dark, anger flickering across it, stretching the skin around his eyes. He stared at Uchiha Ci, and with a low laugh, he asked, I asked my teacher, why don't you save them? Sensei, you're strong enough. Could you defeat those chunin who were slaughtering civilians? Could you kill them, erase any trace of them, and get away with it? Kill them. Why don't you kill them? Why? Do you know what my teacher said? Haydn paused. He told me. Uchiha Ci exhaled slowly. Probably, Haydn, don't cause trouble. We're no match for them, right? The contrast reminded him of Uchiha Setsuna's words when facing the powerful enemy from the hidden cloud, ready to destroy himself to avenge Ci, to avenge a genin, he was willing to hunt down an entire clan. It was the first time Uchiha Ci truly understood the Uchiha's love for their clan and how powerful it was. Haydn shook his head, a disappointed smile on his face. He said, those people are none of our business. Don't meddle. He actually said, those people are none of our business. My teacher's hometown is that village. We left to bring his wife back home. He actually said they were none of our business. Haydn's emotions surged. He snatched the apple from Uchiha Ci's hand and threw it to the ground, smashing it to pieces. Uchiha Ci, hey. What the hell? That was my snack. Uchiha Ci shook his head. Even though he knew this world was messed up, hearing this tragedy still hit hard. This world sucks, but what does this have to do with the evil god cult? Haydn nodded and pulled a pamphlet from his pocket. See, look at this. Excitement was all over his face. Read this teaching. The dying land of rain has finally seen the light. It's called, the evil god cult. The smile on Haydn's face became unhinged. Kill. Kill everything around you. Kill standing up, kill squatting down, kill them on top of tables. Dump a load of manure on their heads and then kill them. Cuff their hands and throw them into a vat of boiling oil. Kill everything. Ninjas, commoners, nobles, the daimyo. Kill them all. Kill, 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 kill. Let this country welcome a purge. Lay the table, stain the flowers with blood, bash in the heads of 10,000 living beings, and begin the ceremony. Then welcome the evil god. When the god descends, all believers will suffer eternal pain. Erase all sin. The reborn land of rain will become the sixth great nation in the ninja world under the evil god's embrace. And it will have peace forever. Haydn stood in the beam of light, opened his arms, and stared at the sun with a fanatical look. It was as if he saw a light brighter than the sun itself. Uchiha Ci swallowed hard, staring at Haydn. You've joined the evil god cult. Haydn shook his head. Not yet. But they should be here soon. Haydn laughed, slapped Uchiha Ci on the shoulder, and said sincerely, Ci, help me. Joining the evil god cult requires sacrifices. Sacrificing myself isn't enough. I need you. Come with me to the cross and become a believer. Then we'll stand side by side at the top of this country and make the land of rain forever great. Uchiha Ci felt a bead of sweat trickle down his forehead, staring at Haydn in shock. No subtitles popped up in front of his eyes. This kid was sincerely inviting him to become a sacrifice, and he probably thought it was a great honor. Uchiha Ci blushed. For Haydn, becoming a sacrifice was a great thing. He would gain an immortal body that defied death, master secret spells from the evil scriptures, he'd climb the ranks, become CEO, marry the bloody March Scythe and the Black Spear as his wives, and reach the pinnacle of life. Thinking about it was exciting, but Uchiha Ci was out. No way. Wait a minute. Uchiha Ci paused, realizing there was an opportunity here. Angels sang and fairies scattered flowers, just waiting for him to take a step forward. This could be a good thing. In the face of such a notorious cult and villainous force, Uchiha Ci, a righteous man destined to bring peace and justice, can't turn a blind eye. Uchiha Ci became excited and jumped out of bed. He clutched the evil god cult propaganda pamphlet and grabbed Haydn's hands. Haydn, my brother. You're on to something. Let's join the evil god cult together. We've got a bright future. Chapter 28 Communion and Scream. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Ci had a simple plan: stand up, sneak in, jump out, mash the A button, then lie back and get carried out. When dealing with evil like this, there's no need for playing nice, giving them breaks, being kind, or showing mercy. A clever little disguise should fool the evil god cult's followers into taking him straight to their headquarters. Then, Uchiha Ci would just need to flex, break free, and yell. Freeze! Police! Naturally, 100 crazed cultists would come at him with knives. Before they hacked him to bits, he could dramatically activate his Sharingan and shout. Hey, wanna dance? He'd get to live out his childhood fantasy of showing off in a crowd and go home with a fat payday. What could be better? Just thinking about it got Uchiha Ci pumped. His eyes practically shot lasers, like he'd just unlocked a new level. The light was even brighter than what was usually coming from Haydn. Even Haydn was a little unnerved. He looked at Uchiha Ci, confused. He'd been wondering if he should try to brainwash him more. After all, this was a sacrifice to their great evil god. Succeed and you become a raving devotee spreading the word. Fail and you die on the altar. Haydn had tried this recruitment speech on a few guys, but they hadn't been receptive. He'd just shaken his head, felt sorry for them not grabbing the chance, and kicked them a few times to blow off steam. Then he found this return a favor trick in a book, said he'd learned it, and picked up Uchiha Ci as the latest mark. Is this the power of knowledge? Haydn scratched his head, suddenly feeling a little creeped out. This eagerness, a scary thought struck him. Why was this guy cooperating so readily? Was he trying to steal the evil god's favor right out from under him? Haydn eyed Uchiha Ci warily. Just then, everyone, outside. A flat voice cut through the air. Haydn snapped to attention, straightening his collar with the nervous energy of a job applicant. He practically skipped toward the door. If there was a mirror nearby, he would have primped in it for a long time. Uchiha Ci narrowed his eyes, shoved the scroll of S-rank forbidden techniques down his pants, and followed him out. Refugees trickled out of every crumbling corner of the village. Soon, they were all gathered in the central clearing, but Uchiha Ci was surprised. These people were in way better shape than your average refugees. They didn't exactly have rosy cheeks, but, I didn't see any of the starving, skeletal faces you'd expect. That wasn't right. Because of the war, the land of rain was in chaos, and only a few rich districts could afford ninja protection. While they weren't far from Rain Village, the capital, they were definitely outside the ninjas' jurisdiction. These villagers shouldn't be doing this well. Then, 3 men wearing high collared black robes and leather scripture boxes on their forearms stood out from the crowd, their faces grim. 2 large barrels sat at their feet. The leader had straight black hair, sunken eyes, and a deep, unreadable gaze. He scanned the crowd, turned slightly, and said to his cultist underlings, "Begin." The 2 subordinates nodded and immediately opened the barrels. Inside, bowl after bowl of cooked meat. The villagers' eyes lit up as the smell hit them. The cultists wasted no time dishing out the meat. Even Uchiha Ci, a total stranger, had a bowl shoved into his hands. Talk about generous. The cult leader pulled out some handwritten scriptures, faced the crowd, and raised a hand. The noise died down. Silence fell. He held up the scripture, coughed, and began to chant. God, the reason for being God. Before we talk about that, let's talk about how the leaders of the Fire Country and others fall short. First, the nobles commit the sin of pride. Then, the Rain Ninja commit the sin of sloth. Then, the Cloud Ninja commit the sin of wrath. The cult leader went on for what felt like forever, detailing the 7 deadly sins of the 5 great nations, the Rain Country's nobles, and the Rain Ninja. The details were juicy, including a breakdown of the Rain Country daimyo's harem. Uchiha Ci almost fell asleep. Haydn and the other villagers were pumped, nodding along. They looked ready to storm Rain Village and replace the daimyo. Finally, the cult leader finished the last line, his throat a little dry. An assistant immediately offered him water. He took a sip, handed back the cup, and said coldly, "Bring forth the offering, and then the Holy Communion can begin." The villagers erupted in cheers, prostrating themselves and chanting, "Thank you, God." A woman practically vibrated with excitement. She grabbed a little girl by the hand and dragged her forward. "Yuko, go with the master of the evil god cult. This will mean endless meat at home." But Yuko's face was blank. As she was pulled toward the cultists, her eyes widened in terror. She clutched at the woman's kimono sleeve. "No. No. No." Her face was pale as a ghost, her eyes wide with fear. "Mom, no. Help me. Help me. I don't want to be eaten. I don't want to die. Mom, look at me." The woman's mask dropped, tears welled in her eyes. She yanked at her daughter's arm, almost hysterical. "Let go. Yuzi, let go. What are you doing? Are you trying to ruin us?" Yuzi clung to her sleeve, trembling. Her voice shook as she cried. "Mom, can't you see? Can't you see? In the bowl, my brother's in the bowl. My brother's in there. Mother." Suddenly, the cult leader's expression changed when he heard the word brother. He waved his hand, drawing a sharp black spear from his sleeve. This was a ninja tool unique to the evil god cult, something like a throwing stick. Normally, it was about 8 inches long and could be hidden in a sleeve, but it extended to almost 4 feet, with razor-sharp edges. They usually used it as a hidden weapon, or for self-mutilation during rituals. The cult leader advanced, face twisted with anger, and swung the spear. He aimed for Yuko's back. Seeing this and hearing her words, Uchiha Ci's face darkened as he looked down at the meat in his hand. His expression hardened. He scrapped his entire plan without a second thought. Forget sneaking into the headquarters, forget staying low, forget showing off, forget about dying. Everything else was forgotten. A blaze of anger ignited in his heart and spread through his body. His eyes turned scarlet. Uchiha Ci threw the bowl of meat to the ground. He charged forward, righteous fury burning in his steps. Stop. Chapter 29 The Awakening of the Coward, the Greed of the Survivor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meanwhile, back in Tangyen City, the capital of the Tang Kingdom, the dreams of the people of Yuno country were shattered by constant war. Hot spring restaurants were shuttered, and the streets were filled with shivering refugees, barely clothed and seeking shelter. The cold wind cut right through you. Outside a simple izakaya, Uchiha Ci stood, a picture of panic. His face was gaunt, eyes bloodshot, and he stared anxiously down the street, afraid to blink. Then, a man in a dark blue gown appeared, his expression stern as he calmly approached on wooden clogs. Ci visibly relaxed. Captain Fugaku. He called out, his voice a mix of relief and desperation. Ci Fugaku replied, his gaze steady, showing no surprise. The Ninja Cat clan had kept him informed on his way here. He had a general understanding of the situation in Tang country. Captain, our team was attacked by Kumogakure at the border. The Great Elder, and Uchiha Ci, they're in grave danger. Ci was beside himself, agitation eating away at him. Please, send reinforcements. If we wait any longer. Fugaku nodded calmly, waving a dismissive hand. I understand. Go get some rest. Rest? Now. Ci saved my life. I can't. Ci eyes reddened, his words tumbling out in a breach of protocol. Fugaku frowned slightly. Ci was clearly stressed and running on fumes. He'd rushed here, covering a half-day's journey in record time. His body had reached its limit. Without another word, Fugaku waved him off again. Go. Suddenly, a figure appeared, kneeling before Fugaku. Captain, Uchiha Ci's location has been found. The tribesman hesitated. However, the evil god cult controls the area. Only Konoha Zumbu have the full details, but when I contacted them, they said. No comment. What? Ci exclaimed. Seize with the evil god cult. Those people are insane. They're kidnapping ninjas and children. How could this happen? He sounded close to tears. In this chaotic country, the evil god cult was a force to be reckoned with, shrouded in mystery and spreading like wildfire. Their teachings were extreme, kill everyone around you. And their methods unspeakable. Fugaku's eyes narrowed as he considered the information. Finally, he nodded. I see. He dismissed his subordinate, then stepped inside the izakaya alone. Ci stared, uncomprehending. Captain Fugaku. What did you say? I see. His face twisted with anger, his body trembling. You knew about Ci, and you're just going to sit here? Do you want someone to pour you a drink while our clan members are slaughtered? He was incredulous. Why aren't you doing anything? Do you have to see them die before you'll act? Fugaku frowned, but his voice remained even. You heard, the evil god cult controls that area. So what? That's Ci we're talking about. Ci retorted. Uchiha Ci. Fugaku studied Ci face, then said casually, is he special? Last I checked, he was just an ordinary genin. Besides, you know the situation here. What's gotten into you, Ci? You wouldn't have said this before. Ci felt lost, but then he remembered the boy who'd pushed him out of the way of a Kumogakure jonin. He clenched his fists. Fine. If you won't save him, I will. I'm going to save Uchiha Ci myself. His mind raced. That boy was alone in the clutches of the evil god cult, facing unimaginable horrors. Maybe they were dragging him to the altar to be sacrificed. He'd run once, but not again. Fugaku watched Ci bolt out the door, surprised. First Shursui, then Elder Setsuna, and now this. What was it about this kid? What hold did he have on these people? He didn't understand, but he decided to see this child for himself. Stepping into the sunlight, he spoke to the empty corner. Let's go. Follow him. Instantly, 7 pairs of scarlet eyes flashed, then vanished. Meanwhile, outside Tangyen City, a group of Konoha root knelt before a pale young man, offering a scroll. Lord Orochimaru, this is the information on the evil god cult you requested. The person you seek should be in this area. With long black hair, golden eyes, and purple eyeshadow, Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, licked his lips, excitement gleaming in his eyes. Good. Forbidden techniques, physical transformation, immortality, and the blood dragon eye. Country is becoming quite interesting. Chapter 30 My evil religion does not accept illiterate people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ci's shout didn't faze the evil god cult leader. He opened his cold eyes and with no hesitation thrust his spear straight at Yuko. Seeing this, Uchiha dropped the ninja charade, channeled his chakra, and darted in front of the girl. Desperate, he grabbed the black spear, his bare hand stopping the blow. The spear sliced through his palm, blood welling up between his bandaged fingers and dripping to the ground. Ci frowned at the bleeding palm. Getting your blood on evil god cult stuff was never a good thing. I said, stop. He looked up, Sharingan eyes blazing, fixing the cult leader with a chilling stare. Sharingan. Uchiha. The leader narrowed his eyes, pausing, his gaze flicking back and forth. The Uchiha clan should have been in Hell Valley, not letting the blood pool barbarians roam into their evil god's territory. What was he up to? Ci. What the hell are you doing? Haydn, witnessing the scene, rushed forward, planting himself between Ci and the leader. Sir, he's a friend, and he wants to join the cult. The leader kept his icy stare on Ci, waiting for an explanation. Seeing the tension ease, Ci's eyes flickered, and he declared, Haydn's right. Let her go. Let me be the sacrifice. The words hung in the air. Everyone stared at Ci, shocked. This kid was willing to throw his life away to save a random little girl. From the crowd, a hooded girl watched the scene unfold. Hidden in the shadows of her black robe, only strands of auburn hair peeked out. When the cult leader had aimed at the girl, she'd been ready to jump in, but seeing Ci's move, she slowly lowered her hands, the hand seals undone. Now, she watched him, a puzzled look on her face. Who was this guy? Willing to sacrifice himself for someone else. Wait, Ci, what are you saying? We were gonna walk the path together. Why are you jumping the gun? Haydn was the first to react, his shock obvious. He looked like he'd seen this coming. Inwardly, Haydn was freaking out, picturing himself as an unemployed guy lining up for a job interview, terrified the guy in front would steal the offer. He was already screaming inside, thinking to himself that this guy was trying to steal Lord Evil God's favor from him. You want to be a sacrifice? The cult leader stumbled back, his spear dropping slightly. He scrutinized Ci, like he didn't know whether to trust him or not. His eyes kept darting to the Sharingan, and he sucked in a breath. An Uchiha, volunteering to be a sacrifice. The leader felt like he was dreaming. That's right, Ci said, stepping forward. I want to be a sacrifice. Please, take me to your headquarters. But the leader wasn't happy. He was beyond astonished. His face twisted into a complicated grimace. He stared at the kid, his expression like someone who ordered a jackfruit online and got durian shells. It wasn't just nasty, it was a real pain in the neck. If word got out that they'd strung up an Uchiha for sacrifice, by nightfall, the Uchiha garrison from Hell Valley would be here, ready to bring hell. He would be skinned and stuffed with straw. The leader's face grew darker and darker as he weighed his options. Finally, in front of everyone, with immense reluctance, he forced himself to ask, Are you a ninja? Yes. Ci nodded. Right, we don't take ninjas. The leader seized the chance. What? Ci spun to face Haydn, brows furrowed. His look screamed, Dude, what's going on? Why invite him to join, just to get turned down? Did they think he wasn't good enough? Haydn looked just as lost, whispering to the leader, Sir, we are recruiting ninjas. Didn't you tell me to grab another one? The leader glared at Haydn, his smile fading. He had said to grab a ninja, but did that mean grabbing an Uchiha? Didn't this guy know that in the list of the 10 worst things to mess with in Kuni, the second was those Uchiha guys? Oh, right, maybe I misspoke, the leader stammered, but handing over an Uchiha is a sacrifice. He couldn't take that heat, his eyes hardened, and he subtly signaled to his two subordinates, then, he turned back to Ci, his face darkening. Do you even know what our cult is about? Ci paused, thinking, had the job market really gotten this bad? So, it was all just waiting to get stabbed now. Did he need to sign up for a class and memorize the evil god's handbook? Wait, I think I remember, Ci said, pulling out the pamphlet Haydn had given him, frantically flipping through the pages. He was trying to turn the interview into an open book test, but then, suddenly, it happened. 2 black spears shot out, one from either side of Ci. The cult leader bared his teeth, dropping Ci's blocked spear, summoning 2 more black spears from the pouch of his black robe. He glared at Ci. You don't even know the basics. You're not worthy to hear Lord Evil God's gospel. My cult doesn't take illiterate people. The spears whistled through the air, the sudden attack raising the hairs on the back of Ci's neck. A jolt of adrenaline coursed through him. Ci realized that these cult goons were actually skilled. Suddenly, 2 lines of text flashed before his eyes. You were attacked by evil god cult minions, Yunin Chunin rebel ninja, and the leader straight up called you a singer and illiterate. Talent, combat intuition, S, has been activated. The electric shock intensified. Ci twisted and jumped back. His Sharingan swiveled, tracing a crimson arc, instantly locking onto the spear's trajectories. He spun in mid-air, hurling the bloody spear in his hand, knocking one spear off course, but the other one was still aimed straight for his heart. Ci remembered Haydn's moves, and his pupils contracted. He was still airborne, with no way to dodge. He could only twist at the last second to avoid a fatal hit, but he would definitely get hurt. And if he got hurt, and they took his blood, adding that to the cuts from blocking the cult leader's spear earlier, the evil god cult could use it to activate that cursed death Sibing Shue. Under that terrifying technique, he'd be nothing but a piece of meat. Ci's eyes widened, realizing this mission was more dangerous than he'd thought. These random evil god cult goons packed a serious punch. But then, from the crowd, the hooded girl frowned, cursed under her breath, and leaped forward. The auburn tassels swayed as she pulled a kunai from under her robe, her sharp green eyes fixed on Ci as she shouted, "Idiot, duck! Water style, water fong blade." Thanks to book friend 20220318213519848 and passerby B among passerby A for sending me a monthly pass. Thanks to searching for light for the 1000-point reward. Thank you to the free-range kitten for the 500-point reward, and thank you for the reward that catches the eye. Foster parents, you are so generous. There are also many recommendation votes from masters. Thank you. Please read and collect. Bang bang bang.